Hey there, I'm Sarah, 34, a single mom to my two incredible kids, Emma and Noah. Life hasn't always been kind, but it's taught me something powerful. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is walk away from what hurts you and build something better. Growing up in a family dripping with wealth, you'd think I had it all. Big house, fancy cars, the works. But underneath the shine, there was a constant ache, a feeling of being less than. Because my parents always put my sister, Lauren, on a pedestal. For years, I swallowed the hurt at our weekly family dinners, where my kids and I were treated like we didn't quite belong. But one Sunday, a simple takeout order became the moment everything changed. It was the night I finally stood up, shocked my family, and started rewriting our story. I grew up in a sprawling mansion in upstate New York, the kind of place that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Marble floors, chandeliers, a garden that seemed to go on forever. It was beautiful, but cold. My parents, James and Margaret Thompson, built a fortune in real estate, and they wore their success like a badge. But their love? That came with strings attached. My older sister, Lauren, 4 years my senior, was their pride and joy. With her golden hair and sparkling blue eyes, she was like a younger version of Mom. Charming, confident, always the center of attention. Her dance recitals were family holidays. Her average grades celebrated like she'd won a Nobel Prize. Me? I was the quiet one, the reliable one, with my plain brown hair and eyes that reminded Mom of her mother-in-law, someone she never cared for. My straight A report cards and science fair trophies got a pat on the head and "That's nice, Sarah, but don't get too full of yourself." No parties, no framed certificates, just expectations to keep being the good girl who didn't make waves. That pattern followed me into adulthood. Lauren went to an Ivy League school with a bottomless allowance, even though she barely passed her classes. I worked my tail off for a full scholarship to a state university, studying to become a teacher. A career Mom called cute, but not ambitious enough for our family's legacy. When Lauren married Greg, a big-shot lawyer from another rich family, my parents threw a wedding that could have funded a small town. My wedding to Mark, a sweet carpenter I met at a friend's barbecue, was met with raised eyebrows and Mom's not-so-subtle question about a prenup, something she never mentioned to Lauren. After college, Lauren floated through life, hosting charity events and sipping cocktails at country clubs, her lifestyle bankrolled by our parents. They even bought her a house as a wedding gift. Meanwhile, I poured my heart into teaching third graders, finding joy in their wide-eyed curiosity, even if my paycheck barely covered the bills. 3 years ago, my world cracked open. I found out Mark was cheating with a coworker. The divorce was like ripping off a bandage, quick, but it left me raw. I was suddenly a single mom, raising Emma and Noah on my own in a small apartment. Mark's child support checks were spotty, and when I turned to my parents for help, all I got was judgment. "Maybe if you'd tried harder to keep him happy," Mom said, her voice sharp as a knife. "Men don't stray for no reason." I carried that shame like a weight, but I pushed through for my kids. Emma, my 10-year-old dreamer, loves sketching and writing poems. She's the kind of kid who notices when I'm faking a smile and slips her hand into mine. Noah, my curious 8-year-old, is always tinkering with gadgets or asking why the sky is blue. Their teachers rave about their kindness, their manners, the way they light up a room. They're my reason for everything, and I'd do anything to protect them. Our family's Sunday dinner tradition started when Lauren and I both had kids. Mom insisted it was about keeping the family close, but those dinners were just another stage for her to show off Lauren's kids, Ava and Ethan, while mine were pushed to the side. Ava, 12, and Ethan, 9, would show up with the latest iPhones and designer sneakers, interrupting conversations and leaving messes that the housekeeper, Clara, quietly cleaned up. My kids? They knew to sit quietly, eat what was served, and offer to help only to hear, "Oh, sweetie, the staff handles that." The comments stung like paper cuts, little jabs that added up over time. "That dress is so practical, Sarah," Mom would say, her smile tight. Or, "Emma and Noah seem fine even without those fancy summer camps." I'd bite my tongue, telling myself it was worth it for the kids to know their grandparents, even if it meant feeling small every Sunday. But things got worse in the months leading up to that life-changing night. Lauren had just come back from a month-long trip to Europe, fully paid for by our parents, of course. She'd go on about Parisian boutiques and Swiss ski lodges, smirking at me while I was juggling extra tutoring gigs to buy Emma new jeans. My parents would nod along, gushing about how worldly Lauren's kids were becoming, never mentioning that Emma and Noah had never even been to the beach. I'd learned to shove down my frustration, to focus on my kids' smiles instead of the unfairness. But that Sunday, something snapped. And it all started with a takeout order that laid bare how little my family valued us. That morning started like any other in our cozy, cluttered apartment. I was up early, sipping coffee while helping Emma with a history project and reading with Noah, his little voice stumbling over big words. The sunlight streamed through our thrift store curtains, and I made heart-shaped pancakes to stretch our grocery budget into something special. "Mom, do you think Grandma will like my poem?" Emma asked, carefully tucking her latest creation into a folder. She'd spent hours writing about our family, her words full of love and hope. "It's beautiful, honey," I said, my heart twisting because I knew Mom would probably tuck it away without a second glance, unlike the sloppy drawings from Ava and Ethan that got pride of place on her fridge. By noon, we were baking a peach cobbler to bring to dinner, something I always did, even though Lauren never had to lift a finger. "Can I sprinkle the sugar, Mom?" Noah asked, his eyes bright as he stood on a stool. "Go for it, buddy," I said, guiding his hand. Then I heard a grinding noise from outside. My old Toyota was leaking oil, a problem I couldn't afford. My neighbor, Tom, a kind mechanic, patched it up for $80, but he warned it needed real repairs soon. That meant pushing off new shoes for Noah, whose sneakers were already pinching his toes. My stomach churned as I calculated how to make it work. By the time we headed to my parents' estate, we were running late, and Mom's voice on the phone was clipped. "Punctuality matters, Sarah." We pulled into their driveway, the mansion looming like a museum. Lauren's new BMW gleamed next to the other luxury cars, and Noah whispered, "Did Aunt Lauren get another car?" I nodded, keeping my face neutral. Clara, the housekeeper, greeted us with a warm smile, but her quiet warning, "It's tense today," set my nerves on edge. Inside, the air felt heavy. Mom lounged with a glass of wine, barely glancing up. Dad was buried in his tablet, and Lauren was scrolling on her phone, her kids glued to new gadgets. "Late again, Sarah?" Mom said, her tone sharp. "Car trouble," I mumbled, holding up our cobbler. Dad waved it off to Clara without a word. The room buzzed with an odd energy. Lauren kept mentioning that Greg was away on business, her voice tight. Dad checked his phone constantly, and Mom seemed distracted. Then, out of nowhere, Mom announced, "I'm too tired to cook tonight. We'll order takeout." I froze. In all our years of dinners, takeout was unheard of. Mom always prided herself on proper meals. Dad agreed, saying, "The kids can have whatever they want." But his eyes were on Ava and Ethan, not my kids. As we moved to the grand living room, Mom turned to Lauren's kids. "Ava, Ethan, what do you want to eat?" Ava demanded lobster rolls from a fancy seafood place, and Ethan wanted pizza with truffle oil. Dad jotted it down, nodding like they'd ordered world peace. Lauren chimed in with a salmon dish and sparkling water, and Mom and Dad added their own gourmet choices. My kids sat quietly, waiting to be asked, their faces hopeful. I waited too, not wanting to overstep. But the silence stretched, and Mom never turned to us. Finally, I said softly, "Emma, Noah, what would you like?" Before they could answer, Mom's voice cut through like ice. "Your kids can eat whatever's in the kitchen. They're not guests here." The words hit like a slap. Emma's shoulders slumped, and Noah's hand tightened in mine. Lauren laughed, adding, "Oh, and Sarah, since I'm staying here all week, you're covering my meals. Greg's gone, and I can't be alone." My mind reeled. Why would I pay for her? Why were my kids being dismissed like this? Dad's voice boomed, "Don't just sit there, Sarah. Set the table. That's what you're good for, isn't it?" In that moment, everything clicked. The suitcases I'd seen in the hall, Lauren's odd comments, the tension. It wasn't just another dinner. It was a setup, a way to push me down before asking for something big. I looked at my kids' hurt faces and felt a fire I'd never let myself feel before. Years of being the lesser daughter, of watching my kids be treated like afterthoughts, came rushing back. The time Mom ignored Emma's handmade Christmas gift but fawned over Ava's store-bought card. The birthday when Dad gave Ethan a drone, but forgot Noah's present entirely. I'd taught my kids to take it, to stay quiet, to think this was normal, but it wasn't. I stood, my voice steady. "Emma, Noah, we're leaving." Dad scoffed. "Don't be dramatic, Sarah." Mom's smile was cold. "You're overreacting as usual. The kids can have leftovers." Lauren rolled her eyes. "Here we go, Sarah playing the victim again." But I was done. "No," I said, holding my kids' hands. "This isn't our life anymore." As we grabbed our coats, Lauren followed me to the hall, her voice low. "They only invited you because they need you to let me stay at your place. I told them you'd never agree unless they made you feel small first." My jaw dropped. "Stay with me? Why?" She shrugged, avoiding my eyes. "Just some financial stuff. Greg's company is struggling." Dad appeared, his voice sharp. "Sarah, stop this. Your sister needs you. Family helps family." I laughed, a bitter sound. "Family? You told my kids to eat scraps. You want me to house Lauren in my tiny apartment you've mocked for years?" Mom joined in, her face pale. "You're being selfish, Sarah. Lauren's in a tough spot." I looked at my kids, their eyes wide but trusting, and made my choice. "We're done here. If you want my help, call tomorrow and ask like adults." As we walked out, Dad shouted, "Don't expect our support when you need it." I didn't look back. In the car, Noah asked, "Are we in trouble, Mom?" I smiled, my heart lighter than it had been in years. "No, buddy. We're free." On a whim, I drove us to Sullivan's, a fancy steakhouse we'd never dared enter. The valet didn't blink at our beat-up car, and the hostess found us a table despite no reservation. Emma whispered, "Can we afford this?" I knelt down. "Tonight, we're celebrating who we are. We're worth it." Noah's eyes lit up at the chandeliers, and Emma grinned as we ordered. A burger for Noah, pasta for Emma, and a small steak for me. Over dinner, they asked why Grandma was so mean, why Aunt Lauren laughed. I explained gently. "Sometimes people say hurtful things because they're hurting inside. But that's not your fault." They nodded, their faces softening as they savored their meals. In the restroom, I called my godmother, Ellen, a woman my parents had distanced me from after a falling out with Mom years ago. Ellen had always sent me cards, little gifts, but I hadn't spoken to her in ages. Her voice was warm, like a hug. "Sarah, what's wrong?" I poured out everything. The dinner, the scraps comment, Lauren's cryptic words. Ellen sighed. "I've waited for this call. I knew how they treated you, even as a kid. I fought with your mom about it, and she pushed me out. But I've always watched over you." She dropped a bombshell. She'd planned to leave me an inheritance, and Mom knew it. "I'm setting up a trust for you and the kids now, not later. And there's more. Your parents' business is failing. They're behind on their mortgage, which I own." I gripped the sink, stunned. Their perfect life was a lie. Back at the table, my kids were giggling over a giant sundae. My phone buzzed with missed calls from my family, but I ignored them. We drove home, the kids buzzing with excitement. That night, as they watched a movie, I let the day sink in. We weren't just walking away. We were walking towards something better. The next morning, Ellen arrived with her lawyer, Mr. Carter. Over coffee, she explained the trust. $5 million for me and the kids, enough to change our lives. She also revealed Dad's business was bankrupt, Lauren's house was in foreclosure, and they'd planned to use me to prop up their crumbling world. When my family showed up at my door, looking frantic, I stood firm. "We'll talk," but on my terms. They spilled the truth: Dad's bad deals, Lauren's secret debts, their plan to lean on me without respect. I offered Lauren 2 weeks in my apartment and help finding a new place, but only if they treated us as equals. For the first time, they had no choice but to listen. 6 months later, everything's different. I bought a cozy house with a big yard where Emma and Noah play with Ava and Ethan, who are slowly becoming real cousins. Lauren's working at a coffee shop, finding her own strength. My parents downsized, and Mom's volunteering. Dad's carving wooden toys. We're in therapy, learning to heal old wounds. Ellen's a regular now, the grandma my kids always needed. That night at Sullivan's wasn't just dinner. It was the start of a new story, one where we're enough just as we are. If you've ever felt small in your own family, know this: you deserve a seat at the table. Setting boundaries isn't about revenge. It's about love for yourself and your kids. Share your story below, and let's lift each other up.